and welcome to VOP this morning. I'm Moses Humphrey. Well, we've heard it before, but Acting Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, says policemen will be withdrawn from VIP and guard duties. Well, that's one conversation. The other is federal government promising to help small business access single interest loans. Now, these two issues are in focus for us this morning. We'd like for you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV. And do follow us on other social media platforms as well at voptvlive. As usual, we'll get into what the front pages are saying and then get talking on the major talking points for today. Well, as usual, again, as we get into what the front pages are saying, I have with me on the show VOP analyst Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning, Moses. I'm glad to be here.
All right, let's happy holiday. Happy Eid al-Kabir.
I think it's Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak. Okay. All right then. So let's get into what the front pages are saying. We have the Punch newspaper. We have the Vanguard. We also have the Nation newspaper. These are the papers that we are tracking this morning. All right. Well, do stay with us as we go into these papers. All right. We'll take a little break. We'll be back in a bit. All right, from the Nation newspaper, we have this headline: Eid al-Kabir, our challenges surmountable, Tinubu assures. And it has a sub-rider: President marks Eid in Lagos, governing Nigeria, a tough job, says Buhari. On top of the nameplate, we have EU observers report on results transmission unfair, says INEC. Vehicle owners to pay 1,000 naira yearly for proof of ownership. 9 Firearms ex-aides among 21 commissioners designate. Travelers trapped as rain destroys Benin-Akure highway. Okay, and then we also have a single-digit interest loan coming for MSMEs. World Bank projects 2 trillion naira saving for Fed government in 6 months from subsidy removal. 2 trillion naira, they say. Okay, all right then. So, and then right underneath, we have a naval rating beaten to death. Woman sells neighbor's child for 1.7 million naira. All right, so these are the headlines that we have from the Nation newspaper. Sir?
The president's message to Nigerians for the Eid, I understand, is in Lagos to celebrate the Eid. It's the tradition, presidents always saying our challenges are surmountable. They are, but it's easier said than experienced. The reality is that those in power are shielded from suffering. It's the truth the world over, except the president of, was it Uruguay or so, Mujica, that had a Beetle, a 1960 whatever Volkswagen, Beetle. But the reality is that people in power should. So they speak from a vicarious point of view because they don't experience what we experience. It appears now that with every passing day, there will be a new levy, a new fee, a new toll, a new tax, a new. Only yesterday we heard about the 1,000 annual fee from all car owners as proof of ownership. If I own a car, why do I need to prove that I own the car? Apart from my license, my driving license, and the
papers of the car, the vehicle papers,
and my particulars. What is if you want to say if you want to say ownership levy or something is different, but saying proof of ownership, I'm wondering what do I need to prove? There is this renewal I do every year. You go to the bank and buy the sticker and put on your car in Lagos. What more do I need? So I'll pay Lagos State government. I'll pay federal government. I'm paying because I own one car. So 1,000 is it for one car or for
For one car, of course.
Why don't they put it and say, so the issue is, how many more things are we going to be paying for? You put VAT on diesel, you put more. I think what government is, the idea, and this is really true about the President Tinubu, his idea about
Generating
the
funds.
role, yes, about the role of the state, is that the state must be solvent, must have enough money to undertake its responsibilities. It means his priority is to make government richer, ostensibly in the hope that it will make society better. But some of us differ from that school of thought. Our school is, why don't we prioritize making the people themselves rich?
You know, when you came into power, the conversation was, will we have more taxes? Will the people be taxed a whole lot more? And it's beginning to look like, yes, there'll be subtle taxation
Every
placed
now
on
and
the
then,
people.
here and there. You know, even in Lagos, they couldn't impose enough taxes. At the point they said homeowner, people who have C of home will now be paying, is it annual, whatever. And you know, the thing is, all this money, where do they go? Because now you're going to have a third party who will have the provide the maybe electronic platform for paying the 1,000 naira with charges. Is that not so? There will be of course there's going to be a contractor company that will come and say, we have the technology to help you do this and that, and then they say, okay, I want the contract to that company. When you pay, maybe if it is 1,000, you may be paying a charge of 100 naira, 200 naira, even if it's 50 naira. How many? So you do the math. How many Nigerians do you now have? You know, this even came 2 days later, 2 days after we had that they had opened the semi-border for importation of cars. You know, you open the border for more cars to come in. Then you ambush the policy with a new levy for all car owners. And because Nigerians appear to be people who, like I said, have been pummeled into submission. So anything government, they will rather comply than not. You know, so the challenges are there, yes, but as a new government, are you adding to those challenges? Are you also, you know, what's the clear blueprint for helping us to come out of them at the earliest time possible? There's a conversation around raising salaries of the president and vice president and elected officials. There's a conversation around raising electricity tariff. There's a conversation around raising adding VAT on diesel purchase. Now there is motor import, car ownership fee, annual fee of 1,000 naira. Then so these things, they will not stop. They will keep on coming. But in the end,
there's also a conversation against around importation of cars and
fuel prices have gone up. Yes, even the value of the cost of importing the vehicle now has gone up
as the dollar goes up as well.
So what is the troubles,
yeah? So I mean,
you are
seems to be increasing.
You are just choking Nigerians. Cost of doing business is rising. Cost of living is rising. Meanwhile, quality of life is going down. So how is
yet we haven't gotten to the conversation of how much should be the living wage of a Nigerian.
Exactly. Now,
so there are measures being put in place to strangulate it even before it comes into
somehow. It's good that all these things are coming out at the same time. I hope Labour leaders are listening and they are watching. They should not accept even the 100,000 minimum wage now.
Talking about Labour,
I even wonder why and the NLC went and said 150,000 when TUC had said 200,000.
Talking about Labour, let me just drop this. Did you hear about the house of Joe Ajero being burnt yesterday? Oh, okay. We'll talk about that one later.
Well. So because this is the issue. You cannot. If we are going, the discussion around the minimum wage must now be more meaningful. Government can take all the taxes we want to take, but it must give us the money to pay those taxes with. Because
but then of what use is it, my brother, if the money comes to pay the taxes and the money is being used to pay only the taxes?
The negotiation will be, we will have enough to live and enough to pay our taxes. Otherwise, there should be no resolution to the issue. It's good that Labour and the federal government agreed to give us an 8-week window. It's enough time for them to beat the issues again and again and again and again and again. You had even our Muslim brothers and friends celebrating the Eid, the Eid, and saying that they couldn't even afford to buy rams. They can't afford. How much is? They can't afford to buy rams. So are we getting better for having less? We are not. This is the whole picture. Some other people, like in the US, the Republican party, they will come into power and tell you that, okay, what they're going to do, that they're even going to give you tax cuts. The reason is simple. When you give the wealthy tax cuts, they know what to do with the money. They are not consumption minded. They plow it back by way of investments. That way they create jobs. They spread the wealth out. But when government wants to take all the money, the question is, what are they now going to invest it in? Because up until now, there's no discussion around subsidy palliatives. Rather, we hear about a fresh $500 million loan from the World Bank. They are looking for money from many places. In the end, what are we really going to do with the money?
All right, let's get on with another daily here. The new the Daily Trust has these headlines. Banner headline: Eid al-Kabir, economic security challenges surmountable. Tinubu, Akpabio, Abbas, others preach love, unity. Buhari urges support for president. Atiku, Obi call for prayers. And on top of that one, we have Sokoto, man killed over blasphemy, buried amidst tears. Well, we had this conversation yesterday on one of our programs. Demolition, Kanu traders hold special prayers. Currency in circulation hits 2.5 trillion in May 2023. That's according to a report. Now, when we go further down, we have many World Bank grants mired in corruption, ICPC. Bride's relative steals dowry in Kano. Again, Boko Haram kills 7 farmers in Damboa. Shatima, FG to accelerate access to single-digit loans for MSMEs. All right, Cyril, let's have your response very quickly before we go on to another daily.
Well, it's a light day today. Maybe we can pick the light story.
In picking the light story, let's not ignore the story about Boko Haram killing 7 people in Damboa. Let's not ignore that. There are other stories of killings. Unfortunately, these stories are recurrent in our papers every day, and one starts to wonder, what are we looking at, in terms of reducing how Nigerians are depleted by individuals who just take it upon themselves for selfish reasons to kill Nigerians.
You talk about Damboa. Damboa, I think, is in Borno. The Damboa, you talk about Plateau State, you talk about even Benue, you talk about Taraba, you talk about Katina, you talk about...
I think I saw a report on Plateau too.
Of course, you talk about Zamfara and so on. The reality is stark. That Nigerians have become, is it benumbed, or they've become deconscientized, as it were, to these killings, Moses. But you see, the more we talk about the killings, the more they continue. Now, we had a government that appeared to be sympathetic to the killers. Plain fact. Plain fact. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me otherwise. That had its own agenda. Thank God that it had a limited time in office. Now, President Tinubu has come. I haven't had the presidency say anything significant about the killings in Plateau State. Now the one in Damboa, they've not said anything about it. If this happened, I don't know did that happen, but it should have been yesterday or earlier in the week. Are they not aware? What we see Boko Haram as a pattern, they will test the will of a new government. They did it to Jonathan, they did it to Buhari. When they saw that the president was neither here nor there, I think that Buhari's time gave us the worst outing with insecurity in our history since after the Civil War. So now this president has come on board. He has changed his service chiefs. In fact, in the army, it's a whole new setup. But I think that we fought this war for far too long for anybody to come to try to say he wants to get abreast of what is really going on. The person who has been appointed chief of defense staff was former theater commander, okay, in Borno. So I think we know what is at stake too much to not be able to hit the ground running. I will be happy if indeed this killing of 7 persons is the first and the last of it under President Tinubu, because I believe it is entirely possible. You know that the man whom the president invited to had in audience at Aso Rock, aside of, apart from accusing the military of being of having a hand in oil theft, he did say also, and I heard him, he did say that the military has all it takes to rout Boko Haram. That yes, they were simply lying and just acting as if they couldn't do the job, but that they had everything. The president acted. I suspect that there was a script, but let me not even go there much. The president immediately sacked the service chiefs. I think within a day or two, a few days after, he let them go. Now the other claim aside of Mohammed was about Boko Haram. I hope that the president will also watch the new guys now, because they didn't defeat anything aside of what said. I hope that so which means it is true. I hope that these new guys can rout Boko Haram early and on time without giving us excuses. Okay, you get my analogy, yeah? Of course. Yeah. So you had this man. He spoke extensively about Boko Haram, oil theft, and so on, and you factored in. I hope that these people you brought in now can also take swift action in routing Boko Haram. So it should be a misnomer. It should really be a misnomer that Boko Haram is still running roughshod over Nigeria. It should be a serious misnomer. Please, I want to hope and believe that this won't repeat itself. All right then. The person who went and stole the bride price of, you know,
to what end you say?
Is this subsidy that made him to?
There's suffering in the land.
Yeah, but I mean, going to pick up somebody's. Come on. Stealing the bride price. Did they put it in a sack?
You didn't even see the one of a woman who sold the neighbor's child for 1.7 million.
No, that's callousness. That's wickedness. Nigerians want to get.
On my way this morning, I was listening to the radio, and I heard another one about a man who sold his own son for 400,000 naira. So there is suffering in the land.
No. It's not suffering. It's not suffering. There's a line to be drawn, in my view. You see, there is the thing about people go through suffering. In life, there are difficulties. But I think when ego comes in, pride comes, say, how do they say it in Yoruba? Share me, Renoni, or something like that. Is this me? Is this me? How do you say it?
Yeah, well...
I tried, Abby.
Yes, you tried.
Okay.
So
the sort of thing. Shame me. So that feeling, it is what makes them to go into rituals.
Okay.
It's what makes them to go into drugs.
I get you.
They want to get the thing overnight.
Not having this.
At this age, at this point of my life, my mates are doing this. Anything that pushes you to do the wrong thing, to correct something. I mean, so... And look, we must come back to being who we are. Money is not everything there is to life. And I've said this thing again. I hope I'm not taken out of context. Money is not always a good thing.
Money is a good thing, but the love of
No. Money is not. It's a very good servant, but can be a very, very bad master. That's why I said money of itself is neither good nor bad. So it is not. Where you see money doing good things does not mean that it cannot also do bad things. So it is not always a good thing, but does not mean that we shouldn't work to earn a decent living. We should do that. But there is this thing about all of us want to be billionaires overnight in Nigeria. The average Nigerian, people go to mosque, go to church. There is the belief that God will suddenly that suddenly somebody will, and so somebody comes with a business proposal, you will not check, you will not scrutinize, just say, God has blessed me. God has not blessed you. God has not blessed you. Even Jesus in the Bible had to turn stone to bread. When he was told to do it, he said he will not. In fact, he said, man shall not live by bread alone. So man shall not live by bread alone, shall not live by money alone, but by from what Jesus said in that particular parable of that particular statement. So we must learn to make any decent living, and not for yourself, for your family. If a bonanza, whatever it is, comes, you could get a car, you can get a land, you can buy. But that quest to suddenly become something. So what is 400,000 naira? Sincerely speaking, Money that can finish in a day.
All right. Let's. This conversation will continue, of course, especially when we talk about how the media and the movie industry
Portrays, yes.
portrayed these things. Let's get on to the Punch newspaper now. The Punch has a subsidy removal. Poor Nigerians will hit 101 million without palliatives. World Bank. Governors, IMF back subsidy removal. Demand cash transfer scheme for poor Nigerians. CBN measures failed to tackle inflation in first 6 months of 2023. World Bank insists. Do I need to take that again? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I want it to sink. Subsidy removal. Poor Nigerians will hit 101 million without palliatives. World Bank. Governors, IMF back subsidy removal. Demand cash transfer scheme for poor Nigerians. CBN measures failed to tackle inflation in first 6 months of 2023. World Bank insists. All right, so let's go ahead.
When you come to the point where you have to start giving people money, when government starts giving people money directly for their sustenance, it means that economy has hit ground zero. Government does not give money. What government normally does is to create an environment, create stimulus, empowerment, and so on.
But in other parts of the world, don't they have a system whereby those who are yet to get jobs get a certain amount of money?
Food stamps, and so on. But it's not exactly. That's like no. So it's not in this context. That's like economic sustenance and government policy on welfare, basically. In Nigeria, we don't have a choice whether to do welfare or not. We don't have a choice. For example, no matter how rich Nigeria could ever be, if you had an Awolowo as president, education will be free as a must. Health will be free as a must. That's government philosophy and government policy. It is his own ideology. He's a social welfarist. And free education is not whether people can pay for it or not. It is that government must give you education free of charge. It was his own personal way of running government. Okay, he did it in the Western region here before independence and after independence, and right up to the Second Republic, all UPN states in Western Nigeria. It was a given that as far as anywhere the UPN won an election, or the AG won an election, education and healthcare must be free. That's party philosophy and ideology. Good. So let's get that off the table. In Nigeria, we've reached a point where whether it's conservative or progressive, or whether it's rightist or leftist, you don't have a choice. You cannot have the number of poor people you have in Nigeria and how the numbers are going to swell, and pretend that this does not call for urgent intensive care unit.
Agree with this number? 10.
It could be more than that. It should be more than that. It's way more than that. It's a conservative estimate.
101 million.
It's a conservative estimate. More than that. Sincerely speaking, it always takes the World Bank and IMF for people like this to give us the real picture, because government will not really be on the front foot to say yes. Why then are you taking more from us? Fuel subsidy, diesel, motor ownership, motor importation. You can go on listing, and that's why I questioned. I said, look, should there be more money in the hands of government or more money in the hands of the people?
I'm sure. You know why I smiled when you talked about the cars and all that. A school of thought will tell you, oh, if those that are the poorest of the poor do not own cars. So no. they are probably not part of those that are considered suffering,
No, so I'm not sure Nigerian economics has defined who a poor man is. Nigeria is a country of anachronisms. So you could go to the poorest Nigerian neighborhood, extremely poor Nigerian neighborhood, and find
cable.
How did I was going? And find access to cable television,
air conditioners
in
mud houses. We have that.
Yeah, we are like that. We are like that. It's a mishmash. A lot of times, it's a mishmash. So, but the thing is, when people and don't take it away from them. And number two, what then is because there's a difference between standard of living and quality of life. What we define about cable TV and air conditioners in modern houses is about standard of living. It's high. Generators will be there also. It's high. But you see, that neighborhood now, everybody in their face you houses have generator fumes going up. So the standard of living is extremely high, and people are racing and fighting to meet up with it, but the quality of life is extremely low. How can you have AC in your house, cable television, generator, all sorts of things, flat screen TV, or but then you can't live beyond 40 years? You see where I'm going now? Your life expectancy is a function of quality of life. The quality of life is extremely low, but standard of living is very high. And this is just the picture. We must make sure that we are not strangulating people, that we're not putting more Nigerians into hardship, which of course we are doing. If all of these policies are maintained and sustained and they are continuous, we want to beg, please, let's do well to make sure that we are considering the poorest of the poor. That there are Nigerians who don't have what to eat, actually, because there are beggars on the roads. That we are mindful of ourselves and mindful of one another, and that these policies have a human face. And that for me, wealth creation cannot just be more money in the hands of government. Wealth creation should be more money in the hands of people who can reinvest it, who can create jobs, who can drive innovation, who can bring us into a new civilization, and not just, we know how to take all the taxes. I hope that we have bright ideas to create new frontiers of nation building also.
All right, then let's quickly take some other headlines from the Punch, and we'll wrap this up, as it's almost time for us to go into the second part of the show, which is the major talking points, actually. Some more headlines here. DSS alert: military police deploy teams in prayer grounds. More multinational manufacturers planning to exit Nigeria. Man, I don't know if you felt that one. Not a good one though.
If you take it again, maybe.
More multinational manufacturers planning to exit Nigeria. Oh well, that's according to Man. Naira devaluation, expect price hike. Telcos tell Nigerians. Here we are. If you go further down the paper, we have Tinubu can. Governors preach tolerance at Salah. FG banks plan special ID cards for senior citizens. Lawless soldiers shoot Ogun driver for parking beside company. APC caucus, NEC meets July 10, 11. In 1 minute.
Under the former President Buhari, a lot of investors, a lot of these manufacturers suffered seriously. For some of them had to go into mothballing. They had to shut down their factories, shut down everything they had, just waiting for Buhari to go.
Okay.
Now Tinubu has come. You see, he is not particularly consulting them. He is not, because these things, perhaps because government already knows what it wants to do.
Okay.
It's just implementing subsidy gone, VAT on diesel, 1,000 naira motor ownership, etc. We need to listen. Like I said, more money in the hands of those who can reinvest it.
All right,
manufacturers are the owners of the economy.
All right.
If we fail to do this, then it means that we've also failed in the economic front.
All right. One word to this headline: Naira devaluation, expect price hike. Telcos tell.
Now
Nigerians.
we have a widespread everywhere. Price of things will be going up. I don't mind.
You don't?
Minimum wage must come to 500,000 naira. That way,
or 700.
Or 700. So that way, when we remove the president and his taxes and levies, we'll still have enough to go down with. I think if we do that, then they'll wake up to realize that these policies are not what Nigeria needs at this time.
All right then. Thank you very much, Cyril Abaku, for your view on the newspaper review, newspaper headlines this morning. Well, up next on VOP this morning, it's an old law for a new day. But will it change anything? The police says it will withdraw its men from following VIPs. Can they keep to their word? Let's talk about this when we return.